one more thing we were going to talk about with Liam. We were bullshitting about Nils M. Skills versus, or Nils M. Skills and Henry Bowers, the glorious return of Henry Bowers.
For real.
Versus Shuffle T. Marlowe, Shufflo. Battle went down in Germany, of all
Berlin.
places.
Yeah, in a weird league.
Man,
called,
it was fucking huge venue though.
Dude, well, you know, it's like those niche markets. Like, it's not like there's gonna be a shitload of battle rap around there, but the people who care all fucking roll into the spot. Because that was the thing about Don't Flop, was that like when they put on an event, it's such a small place, England. You can come from Scotland. I mean, it's a big deal, but like it's manageable. So they would just have everyone run in. I imagine it's something similar there. Like every person who speaks English well and cares about English speaking battle rap from within 100 miles is fucking come to that spot. So yeah, I don't know. Their branding is fucking clearly off.
What's the name of the league again?
The league is called Don't Let the Label Label You. But
Don't let the label you.
Yeah, but so that's an English name.
Yeah.
Then they turn it into an acronym, DTLLTY or whatever the fuck it is.
A lot of fucking.
Yeah. So Nils and Skills, he said that he was like, I'm amazed you guys haven't blown up with such a catchy name like DTLLYLY.
Fuck, man.
But it's set up by some English dude Jolly J, who's an English battle rapper in Don't Flop, and then who I guess moved to Berlin and speaks fluent German.
Okay.
So he set this league up and is obviously like kind of like piggybacking off of this scene
but
that
he's
exists.
just swimming in it. He's just got all the people running from all over Germany to come watch his battles.
Yeah, so it's
good
like,
man, Jolly
this is
Joe.
why it was so crazy.
I appreciate your hustle.
When Don't Flop fucked up, I was like, dude, all you need to do, like, they're not even good events. You just need to keep throwing them. Like, don't let them go away. I was like, you have all of us eating out of your hand, and we're happy to. Like, fucking do it. But it's a really tight battle. And on paper, that sounds like one of the best battles, like one of the best 2-on-2s ever. When you put like those four guys are all fucking super heavy hitters in the battle world. But I don't know if like those guys have just not battle rapped in English in a long time, or maybe they just like weren't that in it. And they're both from, I think, from different countries, so it's all like fucking rapping on.
Well,
Skype
it's different
and
than like Shuffle T and Marlowe that are getting together and fucking rehearsing.
Literally the opposite. Like guys who have stayed active, who are best friends, who hang out all the time, who do the shit all the time, and are like really good English speakers, even amongst English speakers.
Versus like two guys from different countries who have the same name, and that's about it.
And have been like retired for like 4 years, kind of. I don't think that they've had a battle. So.
No, either of them. Certainly not Bowers.
No, I don't think he hasn't had one since like back in like maybe not Grizzle, but like. Oh no, I think his last battles were in Don't Flop, but even then, like 2014, 2015 maybe.
Exactly.
And I think maybe back then he was more into it, and like we were saying, you know, if I battle rapped in Spanish and then I took like whatever a couple of years off and then tried to come back to it, like not only is it like warming up into battle rap again,
but it's another language.
Yeah,
too.
so I can only imagine.
They didn't sound as good.
No.
And then you were saying too, is like Bowers' voice sound higher. It was like I think it's just a mic situation because he's usually got to yell like because he's in a big room and shit. I don't know. And then and it was just like very drawn out on that side and very like fucking sophomoric. Where homie's like he's like I had no problem devouring the tea, but I smashed your despicable mug.
He's like when the Germans offered us tea, we had no problem quickly devouring tea, but when we finished it, we smashed the mug and swept it under the rug. That's because I quickly devoured the tea, but I hate your ugly mug. Like, it was just so long-winded, and like
to get to like I hate your mug, so I smashed your mug. Get it, mug like coffee cup, and I devoured tea, which is like homie, pause if you're gonna be devouring tea out here. Like chill out, homie. Like I get it. Like you're talking about the beverage, but when you say devour tea, all I think about is just fucking. Nothing I want to think about. You know what I'm saying? Bro. So shut it down. Yeah, there was some pretty like fucking like very like 2012 grind time esque fucking like the last like hurrah of like really doofy jokes.
Yeah,
like,
for real, like a real, and even prior to the last time that these guys were rapping. So for me, it felt like they had gone backwards in time 2 years, and Shuffle T and Marlowe started years ahead and kept going, and are probably on the cutting edge or whatever, you know. Like,
yeah, and then they were doing their weird Volvo shit, which is why you wanted to watch the battle in the first place.
It's so strange, man, because it's like it's something I'd thought about a while ago. Like people are always dropping bars about brands or whatever. But I just imagined if someone had been paid or like contacted by like a clothing brand or whatever to spit like a whole branded round, and I was gonna send it.
And then like other people found out like if like let's say like I run a league.
Yeah, I was gonna ask these guys what's their opinion if you found out like. You know, whatever.
Like, why did that fool write that whole fucking Gucci round? And then it was like, and then
that's
it
a
found
lot
out
of
it was
Gucci
like
bars.
Gucci was like fucking throwing a little money.
Or like something weird, like something even like Al Capone. Hand rolled in Honduras.
Yeah.
Bro, the only thing I want hand rolled in Honduras is a corpse into a river. Why is that like an appealing sales tactic?
Why'd you say it's a corpse rolled into a river?
Bro, like touched by third world hands. All right,
it's like, homie, you could roll that here where they have standards for like fucking things that I have to smoke on, you know what I'm saying?
Antibacterial wash. So, like, that's the kind of shit that gets me going. I'm like, I don't need any of this fucking.
So, man, I'm so high. What were we talking about again?
Oh, just the branded rounds.
Oh,
because it's really unlikely that Gucci is going to pay Chess to do a round about Gucci.
Yeah, which would be super impressive, and you would rap about the fact that you got paid to do
probably
that shit.
But at the same time, like you could almost imagine like someone doing like Al Capone brand cigarillos. They got like whatever a rack from them.
And you were thinking in your head like, why was this fool rapping so much about Al Capone? And then you found out later that he got a rack.
Yeah, or if it was like Hitman Holla or something, and he had some crazy you know how Hitman Holla is like the one punchline.
Yeah.
And let's say it's because if you know
it was an exclusive vodka punchline.
I mean, I don't think that's so far fetched that because you know that that scene on its own will get 100,000
But even then, like if it was one of those companies, you would know that that's what was happening because they sponsor battle rap. It would have to be something like weird to where it would be like, oh, really? That's crazy. I found out that fool was getting money for that.
It was weird. So this was the discussion I wanted to open up anyway. And this is kind of what happened because like an hour after I had said that on this post, these guys I watched this battle and Shuffle T and Marlowe like real subtly like they start off with just like a Volvo line or something.
Yeah.
And then you're like, and then they kind of mention it and they kind of do a little 4-bar Volvo scheme and then they just move on and they go back to spinning some angles and they have other bars and then they come back to like using Volvo like as a reference like we're gonna
and every time it gets more like
like a Volvo V46.7.
Yeah, it gets more specific and like almost like very complimentary all the time and more each time
until eventually they're basically just going like, picture it, man. I know it sounds expensive, but you could go to the dealership. You'll be driving down the road and fucking
both wearing Volvo t-shirts.
Yeah, that's what at one point they go, we would never sell out because we're told that's very naughty. And then immediately they just fucking take their jackets off and it's these fucking Volvo shirts.
But it's so weird because there's no way that Volvo like contacted them in any way to do this.
Yeah.
This is just like some weird ass decision they made.
Dude, it's some Black Mirror shit that they're like, they know that people like us are gonna see it and think like, wait a minute.
Maybe Volvo did pay.
Yeah, because there's levels to this, right? You could look at that and go, oh my god, I can't believe they got Volvo to sponsor them. That's crazy. Like, I bet you there's one post on Talkback where one goes like, how much do you think they got from Volvo for that? And then there's the next level where people go like, wait a minute, like, that's a joke, right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, but then you go to the next level, you're like, yeah, but what kind of joke is that? Like, are they trying to, like, are they implying that, like, Volvo, you know, it's hard to tell on what level they approached it, but it's amazing, and the best thing is that they never relate it to the battle, and they never address it at all.
The best part of that whole breakdown is, but wait a minute, what kind of joke is that? Is it like, is it a joke on us? Or is it a joke on Volvo? or is it a joke?
Yeah, who are you making
Are they
fun
truly attempting to get some sponsorship money from Volvo?
Yeah.
Are they making fun of the German audience who might not get like?
Exactly.
It's so weird.
Because Volvo is it's either German or Swedish.
Yeah,
and those guys are both like and it's in Germany, and one of those guys is Swedish. So it's like there's like these little links to it, and I feel like that they're on the level where they are specifically want to just have everyone going, what the fuck? Like, what is it? That's what they're, because it's so random and aimless otherwise.
Yeah.
I'm just like, it's gotta be just to be like them just doing it because they like to do that kind of weird fucking shit,
It's certainly
and boy did it work.
What is it, Occam's razor, right? The most likely scenario is the scenario. The most likely scenario is they're just fucking ridiculous people.
Exactly.
And it's a ridiculous ass thing to do.
Exactly.
So that's like the most likely
but
scenario.
until we see any other evidence.
Yeah, until their someone pulls up in a fucking fly out Volvo, until Marlo's fucking smashing something, then I'm gonna be like, God damn! Hey man, why didn't I get in on this shit?
And you know, it's like if Volvo was gonna try and do some wild shit like that, that they could not really be clearly associated with, this is for sure how you do it. Like the complete reverse psychology, come out all gun.
Oh, like if Volvo was gonna like actually market to people, it would be. I mean, shit, we're talking a bunch about Volvo right now.
This is what I'm saying, bro. And that video has like, I don't know what the views are, but it's
80-something thousand.
It's getting up there, and like I don't know if that segment has been cut and put on Facebook on its own. Like I don't know what the branding is. Volvo's probably beyond all this, but just alone the fact that we're having this conversation goes to show how creative.
Hey, and we never said anything negative about Volvo in the process.
That's true. I hear they're great cars. We like money too.
They're great cars. I think that's fucking totally like par for the course for them to just be doing some super fucking weird like off-ball shit. And man, they went hard on the boys.
Oh my god, yeah, I felt bad. Like, it felt.
They didn't like. They weren't like playing nice. They were like, y'all suck. Watch this. I'm gonna cook you.
Fucking... You're terrible at English, and just because you don't speak English as your first language, it's not an excuse. They went in like in every way.
Yeah, that's great, man. Shouts out to Shuffle T and Marlo. Fun fact. I thought that I would like Shuffle T more. Yeah, but then but Marlo's way cooler. Yeah, like way cooler.
Shuffle is a bit of a.
He's a weirdo.
Okay,
he's just a weirdo, and maybe it's just like he doesn't turn like the weirdo off, or he's like I'm in character, which is fucking weird. All right, like if you're still gonna be like the weirdo that you are in the battle while you're walking around talking to me, it's like I can't handle that. But like Marlo, I've like talked to a few times, and he's a normal fucking person. So yeah, that's a fun fact.
Well, from my experience at events. Shuffle T. I've never seen Shuffle T not be Shuffle T, whereas Marlo, and even in like performance, you can see Marlo will break out of the whole routine a little bit easier.
Yeah,
and just be a little bit like, oh fucking hell. He's a little more
acting. That's why I don't have any friends that are actors. They're fucking weirdos. I don't know if they're lying to me. Fucking strange ass person. You know what I mean?
People who've decided to pretend they're
to be other people.
Yeah, they're like.
And then even worse, if they're hella good at it and shit.
Yeah, you can't trust them. Or they're like Daniel Day-Lewis and they just like spend 2 years like pretending not to be able to walk and shit.
A different persona.
Yeah,
or if they think
I gotta get this oil. You're like,
if they think they're hella good or actually hella good at just random things that they pick up. Like, do you think Michael B. Jordan can just fuck people up now?
He was talking about fighting. What is it saying?
Oh, what? He wanted to fight like Bernard Hopkins. Yeah, bro, Bernard Hopkins is old. He'll fuck you up, Michael B. Jordan. Chill out. You are way too pretty for that shit. Go get more Oscars and relax,
homie. Speaking as a young person, we're retarded.
Sit down with another SAG award because you are a brilliant actor and you could play any role. You could keyword play. Fuck, don't go. Even Bernard Hopkins is that dude who hung out too long too, though, and
yeah.
But still.
So, but that's the thing is even you could say Floyd is old to be boxing,
but. It's different. The Floyd did not hang out too long. He's still no. He's still doing pretend matches with Japanese fools and fucking punching them around.
But I'm saying when you're at that level, if someone else isn't at that level, even if you're an old person,
my God,
you're gonna walk.
Yeah.
For sure.
And just also I don't know, athlete to actor. Herschel Walker used to do MMA fights and he would fuck people up. Herschel Walker is 48, dude, but he's Herschel fucking Walker. This fool is a his arm is a tree trunk. And this fool would just one punch annihilate fools in the Strikeforce arena.
Yeah,
but
I'm sure an athletic build is always gonna.
You know, like that's a dude who played fucking national football, like the hardest, like the most like hard on your body sport at one of the hardest times to play it, and then still has the fortitude to go do like any sport afterwards. Isn't like busted in the knees or back or whatever. So it's a different level when you talk about someone like that versus someone like Michael B. Jordan, who's like clearly looks like dude, like I'm saying, like I would hate to fucking fight that motherfucker. He looks like he's clearly been training to kick ass, but does that qualify you to go get in the ring with someone who's been actually kicking ass for that long?
That's my thing. It's like of all the people to pick out, you're not just like, yo, I could fuck most of you up.
It's almost smart, man, because he's like, well, I see Bernard Hopkins get fucked up a few times. Like, if you pick Floyd, man, it's like, first of all, you ain't in his weight class. Second, like, he's still touching people up. And you don't want to be on the other end of that fury.
Nobody does.
Like you're gonna fare better than Conor McGregor, who's like, you know what I mean, or like any other professional fighter that ain't even from the same sport. Because guess what? He's still a professional fighter, and he didn't like play one in a movie. Fucking.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a big fucking difference.
I don't know how good Michael B. Jordan is, but let's just say everyone would be fucking amazed if it was any other way than the way everyone would expect it to be. Cause I don't know.
I don't know how we even got on this topic.
Because we're talking about how actors are ridiculous.
Yeah, they fucking are, and Shuffle T is a ridiculous but he's incredible, and like I think that
it's probably why he's so good.
Yeah.
Just like most of those, the great actors are probably all kind of
fucking weirdos.
Yeah. So shouldn't be surprised.
Even like Tom Cruise, everyone knows he's a weirdo, but he's so good of an actor that we like accept his movies.
Well, I mean, he's in a cult, so he's actually kind of like the poster boy for a cult. So it's kind of a bit of he's like a unique.
He's a crazy one.
He's
right?
like super.
Like he's been in like marriages that like are like publicly like to be arranged. Like people like escaped. You know?
Yeah, but he's still like, I mean, I just watched that whatever that movie was where he's playing Barry Seal.
Or that fucking last Mission Impossible. Like every Mission Impossible movie. It's fucking incredible. He's like smashing around.
And I just put all that shit on pause. Like Scientology.
I don't give a fuck. I don't care.
It's weird. I think it's one of the weirdest things.
I don't care about your personal life. I don't read tabloids. Mission Impossible is an incredible movie.
That's true. I don't have to have Tom Cruise over for dinner. So
at all. And I would because he's a weirdo. Probably not Shuffle T either. But Marlo, you're welcome any fucking time, buddy.
Damn, there you go. Well, I'll just go out on a limb and say, yeah, you're also.
If you're ever in Ireland or San Jose, you got a place to go.
Yeah, for real. It's good. Shuffle, I take you too, just for the wow factor.
Oh yeah, I don't know. He's weird.
He's not a celebrity to you because you're both just battle rappers. Like I'm.
Oh yeah.
I'm just the guy.
He's still kind of like a celebrity to me. I specifically I was like, I want to battle these guys before I quit battling, and then I did it.
Yeah, they're really fucking remarkably good.
Yeah,
like, and I think people get used to how good they are. Even just that like fucking thing where they're going back and forth, and he says, "I'm racking my wow." And he says, "I'm racking," and then
like this one saying he's racking his brown, and this one says, "Wow, I'm racking my wow."
He completes his rhyme by interrupting his thought with a fucking new. It's just the time.
The rhyme scheme was I'm racking my wow.
Yeah,
but it's two people saying.
That's how they continued it. It's so good,
fucking funny.
Dude.
That's so funny. Yeah, it's incredible.
He's saying something like, "Oh, you should go and stand in the crowd. I wonder why I'm racking my," and he's just go, "Wow, I'm racking. Look at the tack and check into that," and they're off on another fucking thing. And it's like that's why I say it's like a one man show. It's like. Given the right setup, you could legit go sit down in London, and those two would be on stage, and they would be like, the other day I was talking about, and then they'll go, Because
dude, I've been watching that Marvelous Miss Maisel show, and it's like they have a lot of like weird like vaudeville like performance shit where it's like weird like or like in stand up was super weird in the 50s. Like fools were like. They would be like, this is my impression of this person doing this. You know what I mean? Like, it's super fucking weird. And it was very, like, talky and shit. Like, so, like, their shit is hella like that. Yeah. Like, they could totally, like, you could fucking throw some old-ass suits on them, and they could be, like, doing their little routine in a fucking, like, in the fucking, like, 40s at a bar, and it would make sense. Because it's like, oh, that's what people do. They're weird. They watch people talk about dumb shit. they don't have TVs right now, so this is what they're doing. But that's what I always like my explanation. Me and my wife be watching that show all the time, and I'd be like, "This is crazy what people did when they didn't have TVs."
They don't have them right now. They'll cut this dumb shit out.
Yeah, 100%. They're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, no, because we can watch something else. We don't need to watch people just talk." It's so weird.
So
well, let me tell you the story. See? Like, no, that's.
I was walking down the road.
Yeah.
That's
and then someone else.
hilarious.
Like they are some weird ass vaudeville act that is just now doing battle rap. What is it? And that's the funniest thing too. How the fuck? I guess because of Don't Flop and it just being a weird ass thing, anyways. But like, it's such a weird thing to fall into battle rap. Like, I became a battle rapper because I would like to rap and I wanted to rap. Yeah. So like I was like, oh, I can't really be in the studio because I don't have no fucking money. And this was before fools like had computers and studios that you could do like that. So it was like you went to the cypher and you rapped on the microphone, and then like a lot of times you battled. You know what I mean? And then you was there's battles, enter battles. You know? Yeah. So like, and then it was like, oh, I will battle as a means of promoting my music. But it was always like I wanted to rap, so that's what I did. Like clearly their motivation is like rooted in performing as opposed to like rapping.
Yeah, I think they enjoy doing what they do well, and I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that they are fans of rap.
Oh no, I wouldn't. I'm not saying like that, but it's like as far as motivation to do the fucking shit. Like my motivation to battle has always been tied to rapping specifically, and even more specifically than that, selling music or promoting music, which was like very old school. Like that's like how all the older guys started. Like there's a lot of newer guys that didn't have that motivation at all. But like someone like Shufflo Nils Marlowe, way different. Not even like weren't even like, oh, I wanna like I can't get in the studio but I wanna rap so I do battles kind of thing. But it's just like this is an opportunity to get on stage and like
I think that they are, well that's why I was just saying that the only reason I mentioned that they were fans is because I think that they were just like I reckon they have like they obviously have a background in all that acting stuff. And then I think they became fans of Don't Flop, whether through being fans of rap and it being a natural style or not. And then it's just like, if you're someone who's like writing, like I know that they write a lot of stuff, they make sketches. I just think it's like a natural transition, especially when it's like battle rap in the UK is not at all so much about it being about having rap music beyond it, you know what I mean? Like there's, I guess when you guys started off, the majority of you would have been trying to push some music.
Yeah, and not only that, we were doing it over music in the beginning too. So it was super tied to
See, I guess that Don't Flop came after a lot
of
that.
It totally did. So because it was a byproduct of the WRCs, which were like, that was what like took away from his experience with like the acapella shit. When like, it's like a lot of people would say that like, oh, well, you know, it's grind time and then it was based on grind time. But I could, you know, you figure the people who did the WRCs basically came to the same conclusion. They're like, oh, this would be better if people wrote. The dudes that have been doing in New York doing the smack battles, but we'll put it on YouTube. Yeah. And then like it was just a race to get shit on YouTube. Even like there's a Canadian league that had battles up before the grind time.
Yeah, Elements.
So like it was all like basically like everybody who could. What are you laughing at?
There's that Pat Stay angle where he does that math where he's just like, in 2006, the first YouTube video was uploaded to the Elements League. And if you do the math, that technically means that I invented this entire scene. Because he's like, that Matt Ills saw those videos and got the idea from me.
Fuck, man. Genius.
He does a good enough job. You're like, fair enough, Pat.
All right, Pat.
But it's so fucking like MMA math type shit. You beat him and he beats you. So what does that make me?
I think like the reason that is because I don't know that was ever making music. I don't remember ever being like a guy who rapped as opposed to just being someone who just battled. So then when he went back to do the Don't Flop shit, it was just start a battle league, and then you know most of the people that end up being a part of that are people who just battle as opposed to people. Because I knew rappers from London who didn't fuck with Don't Flop. Like when we went out to do Don't Flop in 2010, we stayed with Stig of the Dump. And that's like a guy who like makes music out there and rapped out there.
For sure.
And we knew him from making music and rapping. Like we didn't know him from battles. Like he watched battles and like he had done battles just like we did battles, the freestyle shits. But he also like knew Madness's music and we were familiar with his shit. And he was like, yeah, come and crash with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like we were out there doing shows, and none of it had anything to do with Don't Flop, and like never did we ever do anything related to Don't Flop that was anything but battle rap shit. You know what I mean? So which wasn't the case here. Like even Grind Time, even the like Battle of the Bays had like Jacka performing, and like fools were rapping at the shows and shit too.
So I think that like that's the kind of, those are the people that were created in England as far as a fan base, and then those guys naturally having a background, not necessarily having a background in rap, but having a background in performing and probably being fans of rap. I think that's just a natural transition to go into it. And for a while they had a YouTube channel that they were
I seen that.
But it just never went anywhere. Well, I mean, I'm not speaking on behalf of them.
Ooh, fucking
shots fired. Well, it didn't. I was subscribed and then
he said, well, it didn't.
6 months.
Well, it didn't.
So, that's very British for you, I'm
hey,
sure.
Man,
and they'll agree with me. They'll be like, well, yes, you had a good point. Like, they had that, because in their first round, they were like, oh yeah, I said, you guys follow each other around more than we do. And the show was like, well, actually, yeah, we probably follow each other. Yes, but when we do it, it's cute. Like, that's the whole British way of just like, yeah, we suck, but we're okay with sucking.
Yeah,
like,
man.
That's the way to go. Americans like.
I remember they had they would do the funny sketch shit too, and I think it's, bro, take it from someone who releases content consistently. That's a bitch.
Oh, I'm not throwing shade at all. It's just like
it's not an easy thing to do.
That's it. You know. You
well,
quote me
like,
in the New York Times.
I guess like I probably wouldn't have like continued to do the shit that I've done if I didn't have an audience for it, or like if people like didn't notice that.
I think they had an audience for it. I just like I don't know. Like okay, so let's just say like it seems like from what I hear, running a show like Saturday Night Live is really fucking difficult.
Yeah,
like,
I can't imagine.
Keep coming up with new concepts that haven't been released, and that's what they were trying to do. So I can only imagine how difficult that is without it just being like totally leaning on battle rap.
I'll say this from the perspective of someone who does comedy and has done battling. It's so much easier to write something funny about someone directly than it is to write something funny.
A funny scenario.
Yeah,
concept.
That's so much harder to fucking do than it is to. And then it's like I honestly like I never really did sketch shit, so it's hard for me to even wrap my brain around the next level of that. It's like making the fucking thing happen.
Yeah.
And I know how to do video stuff too, so it's not an easy undertaking. It's certainly like the way I always put it with the stuff like projects or like video fucking series is like the harder you make it in the beginning, that you're gonna have to repeat that all the fucking time.
Yeah,
so like if you're filming like these like really like cool fucking sketches that take like a whole fucking day to do and a whole week to write, like it'll burn you out in a short period of time. Versus if you like just film a podcast where you turn something on and then act like an asshole for an hour, then you could do that shit all the time.
So I think I would just imagine, like from an outside perspective, it seems like they have the choice of like working really, really hard and probably not getting a lot back from that kind of shit, whereas to being like top of the food chain while it seems like effortlessly doing their thing, and just like they could go to any league, any headline, any event, and battle as long as there's more 2-on-2 teams. That's the problem. That is always the problem with them.
They're finna run out. Like,
caliber competition.
There's basically now they're at the point where they have to like rely on like good rappers teaming up versus like there actually being teams left for them to battle.
Tell me you couldn't headline like you could headline a Don't Flop event off of them versus every URL 2-on-2 team that has ever been.
Every single one.
And I'll fucking watch it because I know that they're not gonna. You can imagine you can't do the same thing with K-Shine. Well, you can, but you know you're gonna get a lot of gun bars. Whereas like with these guys, you don't know. Are you gonna get a Volvo ad? Or are you gonna
get a conversation from a coffee shop, word for word reenacted? Like, are you gonna get like Marlo's not gonna be there at the beginning of the battle and he's gonna fucking like he's gonna be disguised as a fucking fat. Like they're so all over the place and creative. I just think that that's such a great lane for them, and then hopefully they get a good chunk of money every time they do a battle, and they have real lives as well. So it's probably like a nice supplemental activity.
I hope they get that fucking Volvo, Brad.
Bro, I hope they get that fucking.
In my head, that's what I'm just thinking. That like right now, Marlo's fucking.
People be doing that shit like
top.
With the internet. If you just talking about shit, sometimes people hit you up. Like, did you see that Max Holloway shit where he took a tour of Ireland and went to, because Conor McGregor, when he released his whiskey, he was like, fuck the Jameson brothers.
Yeah.
And they invited Max Holloway over.
Oh, to come
they
over,
got him
dude.
like a signature bottle of whiskey.
That's tight.
They put all this Instagram shit up. But he didn't at all like mention Conor. But he's like in Dublin. He's probably like 5 miles from Conor.
Yeah, what's
fire.
up,
It's super fire, yeah. So that's like the best fucking promo ever.
Man.
And I don't know if Max Holloway even said anything, but like with the internet now, maybe they'll get involved though.
Yeah, fucking
Who knows?
Shouts out to Shuffle T and Marlo.
Always being fun. Always a good time.